just when I was feeling bad about defending Israel Folau, and I was, some idiot at the ANZ bank decides to bully his wife. It's incredible. Yesterday, on the very day that the Australian Christian Lobby raised $1.5 million in 24 hours from Australians upset by the way that Israel Folau has been persecuted, ANZ decides to make them even angrier by announcing it had gone after his wife, Maria, a star of the New Zealand netball team. So, what was actually her sin? I mean, Maria has not said that she agrees with her husband, who was fired by Rugby Australia for quoting the bit in the Bible that says gays will go to hell. She hasn't said she agrees. All she's done is linked to a page where her husband asks for donations for his legal bills as he takes Rugby Australia to court to fight for his right to preach his faith, yet still play for his country. Now, it's mad enough that Folau can't play rugby simply because he quoted the Bible, for heaven's sake. But to now attack even his wife for showing loyalty? How pitiless are the bigoted new moralists running riot around this country. You see, ANZ has announced that Maria Folau has crossed an ethical line, and it's complained to her boss, Netball New Zealand, which ANZ sponsors. It says, "We do not support the views of Silver Fern Maria Folau and have made our views known to her employer, Netball New Zealand." You've got to ask in how many ways this is mad and mean. I mean, for a start, how does ANZ even know what Maria Folau's views are? She hasn't expressed any. Second, ANZ, a bank, is now the morality police, hounding a woman for what he imagines are her private views. Private views. Now, I know ANZ says it wasn't threatening her, but if a big sponsor rang up your boss to complain about you, I think you'd get the message. And third point, now excuse me, but does ANZ even know how to spell morality? This is the bank that recently had to pay compensation to 2 million accounts after ripping off its own customers. This is the bank that was last year whacked by the Royal Commission for taking more than 6 months to pay people back.
That it took the major financial groups an average of 251 days to make the first payment to customers affected by a significant breach after the end of the investigation. Yes. You're familiar with that finding?
Yes.
And for ANZ, it took an average of 198 days.
Yes.
Now, again, is that too long, Mr. Elliott?
Yes, absolutely.
And why has it taken ANZ so long to remediate customers?
So my investigation into this and discussion with our teams has been, and this is a mistake on our part, so I accept this was wrong.
A mistake on our part. It took them 4 years to investigate complaints on average, 6 months to pay people back. Really? I mean, now, as I said, this sure stopped me feeling bad for supporting Israel Folau. And I did feel bad. Folau isn't a man I want to support. He thinks my gay friends and my gay relatives are sinners going to hell. He quotes the bit in the Bible that likens them even to adulterers, liars, fornicators, thieves and drunks. So how do you think that makes them feel? Still, if I defended only the free speech that I liked, well, that would be worthless. I wouldn't be arguing for a principle. I'd be just arguing to suit myself. But you know what I have found surprising here is that I suddenly find other people supporting Folau that wouldn't like him either, really, or his views rather. And these are people that I thought, and to be frank, sometimes said, were enemies of free speech. Here they are, side by side. Take Gillian Triggs, former president of the Human Rights Commission, back when it dragged in even university students for questioning over their free speech. You know, why had these students dared to criticise Aboriginal-only computer labs at their uni and call that segregation? Must be investigated. Now, Triggs still does want laws limiting our free speech, but she now says Folau should never have been sacked.
My own view, and it is a purely personal view, is that he should be entitled to put his view. As I say, it's a very wide view. It encompasses a lot of us. We're all going to go to hell. I think that it's really foolish and disproportionate to prevent him from preaching something that I think he probably believes quite deeply as a matter of religious expression.
Gillian Triggs, is that really you? I also heard Labor frontbenchers, Christina Keneally, for instance, also talk about free speech like they were actually in favour of it. Even the left's Stephen Jones told Folau's critics to just suck it up. Don't sack people whose beliefs you simply don't like. So why am I suddenly hearing this from them? Now, of course, they may actually believe in free speech. Hallelujah. Or maybe they've seen the huge public revolt against the sacking and the bullying of Folau, the shameless sacking and bullying. In fact, in the last 2 days, as of a few minutes ago when I checked, Australians have donated just short of $2 million to Folau's legal fund. That's amazing, $2 million. But then maybe also these new friends of mine, these fellow defenders of free speech, suddenly see where all this is going. If Rugby Australia is allowed to sack a Christian for what he says, can a Christian school then sack an atheist? Can some other business sack a Muslim? Pandemonium. Very interesting. Interesting issues. And just when the Morrison government is talking about getting new laws protecting religious freedom. So what a pity that the Prime Minister, who's himself a Christian, seems suddenly too scared of getting involved in, well, particularly in this huge debate, refusing to comment on the Folau case and defend religious freedom.
I think that issue's had enough oxygen. Thanks.
Not good enough, Scott Morrison. Free speech suddenly looks like a battle that could actually be won. And this is the time for its champions to speak up. Well, we can.